We moved. Where did we land?
Where did we land, guys?
Coming up right now. So if you've seen our pros and cons of North Carolina videos,
Our most popular video.
You probably know that we stated that we would not live in North Carolina long term. Even though we ended up being there for 10 years.
10 years.
But
North Carolina was good.
It was good to us.
It was good to us, you know.
But we moved.
We've moved. Where do we move to? Y'all gonna do a video?
Where are we?
Where are we? Where do we land?
In the world.
As you can see, it looks a little different.
Tracy. It's still very green.
Still very green.
So we, as part of our thought process, we considered several places.
We talked about North Carolina, of course.
Talked about Florida.
And we talked about Atlanta.
And we talked about D.C.
Right.
So those were kind of the primary places we were considering, although people were writing in giving us a lot of other suggestions over the years.
Thank you. It did factor in. It really did.
We appreciated all the feedback.
Yeah.
And so we're doing this video to give you an understanding of what our thought process was and what we decided.
So first one up is...
Let's talk about Florida.
Okay. Florida.
The Sunshine State.
I love Florida.
The sunshine and palm trees of Florida.
That was an old
if
commercial.
You need it good. No.
If you want it bad.
No, if you need it bad, then
we've got it good. That's old.
Come to Florida.
So I'm from Florida.
Tracy's from Florida. It's our home state.
Born and raised.
South Florida.
The bottom.
West Palm, North Palm. That's where Tracy grew up.
Gardens.
And we've never lived there.
No.
And so, we've been married for 30 years, but we've never lived in South Florida. We've never lived in Florida in general. So that was a place that we were considering. So some of the pros of Florida that we thought through were, that's where Tracy grew up.
The beach, and the beach. I grew up on the beach, so those of you that didn't grow up on the beach, it's really a very, very cool place to be.
Yes.
On a daily, weekly basis.
Of course, the weather's very dope in South Florida.
The weather's, a lot of people say, oh, it's so hot. Well, I always say, y'all ever heard something called air conditioning?
They do have air conditioning in South Florida. It works very well.
Yes, it does.
Florida's also a very pro-business state.
Yes, it is.
Another thing about Florida is that there are no state payroll taxes. Right, so when you have business, even with your job, right, because of the no state tax piece, there's some advantages to living in Florida.
And I actually figured it out one time. I said that if we moved to Florida, we would save about $1,000 a month from North Carolina.
So that's real dollars. That's real stuff that you can do, increasing your investment, increasing your savings, doing things that you want to do for yourself, for your family. So, those are real dollars.
It's a great business protection and everything state.
Something to keep in mind. So what are some of the cons of Florida? So kind of the why not Florida, right? So we thought through the job prospects are not quite as good in Florida.
Not for us.
Not a ton of industry,
We're
right?
techies.
So being in the tech space is not a ton of opportunity, and so that was certainly a big part of that. The roles being more scarce, and then because I've never lived in Florida, the weather, the whole hurricane thing was a bit weird to me.
It's not that big of a deal. It's just not.
So, I grew up in Atlanta. We've lived in North Carolina, D.C. So, thunderstorms are very normal. You get lots of boomers and lightning and that kind of thing, right? Every now and then you get a tornado warning.
But you have like a week to prepare for a hurricane, and then the homes are built so much better there.
Yeah, but you're kind of on this peninsula, right? So it's like living on an island in South Florida. So it was just weird to me.
They're not fun though. Hurricanes aren't fun. That's not what I'm saying.
So that was a con, and then I guess the last con was Florida man. Y'all better watch out for Florida man.
And my dad will tell you he's Florida man.
There's some real stuff out there. So.
They don't care. They just don't care. They we live in our lives. We live in our best lives in Florida. And they do. I would have to say that's what I do love and miss about Florida.
Yep.
Is people there are very free.
Yes.
They do what they want to do, how they want to do it, and they don't care what you think.
There you go. So next place we thought about was Georgia, Metro Atlanta.
Georgia!
So I'm a native of Atlanta, in case you guys didn't know that. And so it's my hometown. There's a certain comfort level that we have.
How you do it? Do the little hand
What?
thing. Yeah, there you go.
A-town.
The A.
A-town.
All of our children were born in Florida, so
No.
they.
No.
Oh, except for one.
You mean in Atlanta? You still you still
I'm
got
sorry.
Florida on
I'm
the
sorry,
brain.
guys. Yes, all of our children except for the first one was born in Atlanta.
That is very true. So we got some Georgia peaches in our family.
And we have lots of family there.
Yeah.
And we have lots of friends there.
So, we've lived there before. Actually, 15 years we lived in Atlanta after we were married.
We figured that out this morning that we lived there for 15 years. I've been telling people 20.
We got tons of friends that still live in Metro Atlanta. And the job prospects are a bit better there than they are in South Florida.
Yep.
So there were lots of positives to Atlanta. Also, is a lot of creators in the Atlanta area.
Very much so with Tyler Perry Studios and the way that blew up. There's a lot of studios there now, from the West Coast and from around the world. They have big boom studios there. Most of the films you see now are made in Atlanta.
Yeah, and just from a creative perspective, just creators on the platform, on the YouTube platform, and so many other social platforms are also making Atlanta their home now.
And we've been asked to be on a few reality shows.
We have.
And we've always had to turn them down because
they're based in Atlanta.
We don't live in Atlanta.
Yeah. So Atlanta was up on our list.
Yep.
So the third place that we were considering was.
Well, we're not gonna say why not Atlanta.
Okay, why not Atlanta? So from a job perspective, like a regular job perspective, we noticed that the salaries, the level of the pay didn't seem to be commensurate with other places that we've seen in the country. And so,
it was like significantly less.
Yeah, because in the daytime we work in tech, and so that was what we were looking for. Yeah. So that was a bit of a turnoff. Certainly, traffic is always something to contend with in Atlanta.
Traffic. Remember every time when we lived there before, Brendan was a little guy, and if we got stuck in traffic, he would start just crying. Oh no, traffic! He was like 3, and he would just start bawling.
Yeah, I know some adults who bawl like that when they get in Atlanta traffic. It's a serious thing.
It is. Y'all got some serious traffic.
Yeah, so even though we have lots of family and friends there, there just wasn't like a giant pull for us to go. For us, it would be going back to Atlanta and just going from that perspective. And so. And
we actually tried.
Yeah, we looked for some different angles. We were thinking about ways to get back to Atlanta and that kind of thing. And so, at the end of the day, we didn't choose Atlanta.
So that leaves
North Carolina
and
the DMV.
Right. So keep going.
So we were living in North Carolina. So we were looking at the pros of staying there. So there's a very pro-business climate in North Carolina.
Yeah.
There are lots of jobs for people that work in the tech space like us. So if you're doing professional jobs in general, whether you're in tech or otherwise, there are lots of jobs.
Yeah.
In RTP, North Carolina, as well as Charlotte. So.
Lots of jobs. There's jobs in medical too. If you're a nurse or if you're a doctor.
Yeah.
Lots of opportunity for that also.
Yeah, North Carolina, so pharma, bio.
Gaming.
Yeah.
There are 30 gaming companies.
Over 30 gaming companies.
In Cary.
In Metro.
Raleigh, RTP.
Yep.
So if you're
in that space.
Yeah, if you're in that space, there's tons of gaming opportunities.
Yeah. So lots of pros about North Carolina.
Oh yeah.
Mild weather.
We love the weather.
The state is beautiful.
It was hot though.
But it's beautiful.
Oh my God, the state, just the trees and the skies, it's just absolutely gorgeous there.
The mountains, the beaches.
But we did this already. We did a pros and cons in North Carolina.
Right. And we lived there for 10 years. So when we were considering where we were going to go, we were already in North Carolina. So there were things that we were looking at about staying.
Yep.
And then, so why not North Carolina? The reason that we relocated to North Carolina originally was for work. And so when that became no longer an issue.
I can be transparent.
Go ahead,
You guys are my friends. I moved to North Carolina for a job. And January 31st of 2019, I got a phone call because I worked from home. And they said, we no longer need your services.
You were like, what?
I was like, whoa! So I've been a free bird for about 12 months now. It's been pretty cool.
Right. So since that was the primary reason we came there originally.
Yeah.
And then in conjunction with that, we were kind of on pause because we still had kids in high school.
Right. We had one more, and we wanted them to be kind of stable. So we had one more coming out of college, coming out of high school.
So in June, our youngest son graduated from high school.
We were like, oh, we free.
We were like, wow.
I ain't got to be here.
All of our children are now grown.
Grown.
I did like this, baby.
Oh, I like it.
So the point is that we had a little more flexibility and freedom about our decision.
Yes.
Because all of our kids were out of high school now. So we were talking about cons of
North Carolina.
Why or why not to stay in North Carolina.
Well, now we can talk about the cons of not staying in North Carolina.
Yeah, so we've never been in love with North Carolina, although it had all of those pros.
If you watched our video, you kind of felt us a little bit. It didn't really change much. The only thing that changed is more people came.
Yeah.
More people moved to North Carolina. It was booming. All the little, farms around us started disappearing. More and more homes, more and more traffic. Like when we first moved to our home in North Carolina, it took Heath literally 10 minutes door to desk.
Mm-hmm.
By the time we left, or by the time you no longer worked there,
about 15, 18 minutes.
It was about closer to 20 minutes. And so things like that started changing.
Yep.
Yes, it did have more going on, but still just not our vibe.
So we continue to have business interests in North Carolina and that kind of thing.
We love North Carolina.
But we enjoy living other places more than we did in North Carolina.
And don't forget to check out Heath and Tracy Know, KNOW, NorthCarolina.com for more.
And one thing I'll add, that was a con that we really came to the realization of over the last 3 years was that from a professional perspective in tech and black people working in tech, there's sort of an element of a glass ceiling.
Ain't no sort of.
That we began to see and experience. And so from that perspective, we just felt like, it may be time to move on.
Yeah.
That it did what it was supposed to do.
Yeah, I agree.
It was great for our career and the stabilization of our family. And so we have no issue with North Carolina from that perspective.
But keep in mind, as a professional of color in the tech world, that it's a good place to start.
Yep.
But you won't necessarily move up as quickly as you think you should.
Yep.
Or have as many opportunities as the lighter persuasion.
Right. So where do we land?
Where do we land, guys? We landed in
the DMV.
The DMV. We are back home.
No, we're not driving. We're not trying to get our license and stuff. Not that DMV.
The DMV is DC,
Maryland,
and Virginia. And to be exact, we live in Virginia.
Yep, we
live
Virginia.
Right across the Potomac from DC. We live in Northern Virginia. And we can tell them where we live. We live in, where do we live? Arlington. So that's where we landed. And if you check out our next video, because this one's long enough, part 2, we're going to talk about why we've chose DC. We've done a pros and cons on DC, so you kind of know how we feel and how much we love the area.
Right.
But now we're going to tell you why we moved here after talking about North Carolina for so many years.
Right.
So don't forget to
stay connected.
Vote, baby, vote.
So, if you're watching this video, regardless of where you are in the United States, and, we're not talking about other parts of the world, but if you're in the United States, one thing that's very important for you to do is vote, baby. Vote.
And we'll have the link down in the description to Kim's collection for this t-shirt.
Our friend Kim hooked these up, so we want to make sure
them up. This is her own original artwork.
Yeah, so make sure y'all give Kim plenty of love. Personal friend of ours, and these are really dope, and it's certainly on message. So guys, remember, stay connected. Stay connected to God, stay connected to your family, and stay connected to your spouse.
Or your significant other.
We love you. From Nova. But I'm still from the A.
That was good.